big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Hey, and welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show, live from the SHR Media Studios. And beautiful and horrendous. God, California. God, I hate this state. Anyhow, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hi.
How are you?
Doing okay. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing swell. I got a present. I got the best present tonight when I came in.
You did. Can you stand up a little bit?
is the
Everyone,
camera
if you're watching YouTube. So our good friends, or I should say our good friend, he's
Yeah.
kind of, oh, hold on. What do I, BZ, why don't I have you? No.
No. You know what?
No.
You said that you were going to teach him a lesson tonight, and I didn't know what that lesson was.
I got to work, apparently.
or
Hold on.
why.
I got to work on this. BZ?
Test.
What did you do, BZ?
Test.
No, I got nothing. Interesting. Did you
So-
break it?
so I got a present.
What's missing here?
What'd you do?
Hold on, I know what's going on. You go tell your message story, Clint. I'm going to give you the camera.
So I come in, and BZ is giggling like a schoolgirl, which he does sometimes. And he says, we want to take a picture tonight together, which we did. And he said, I have something that I want you to wear. And I said, yeah, absolutely. What would you like? And he turns his back and he's giggling. Well, like he's got his back to me, and like his shoulders are bouncing up and down, and you could see that
This is going to be hot.
he's giggling
Right.
as he's pulling out this shirt.
Right.
And he turns around and he's got this huge grin on his face.
Yep.
You know, and you immediately start laughing, and I am staring at the best present ever. And it's a t-shirt
Yes.
that those of you that can't see the camera, it's got the SHR Media logo on the top, and it says fucking technology.
Because that's what you say.
And I laughed and I said, wow, I think that all the time.
Yes.
I go, that is hilarious. I think that all the time. And you both look astonished and your jaws drop and you say that all the time.
Right. And he doesn't think he does. That's the best part about this.
No, the thing that was so great about that is well, that's something I would have said.
Yeah. That was exactly what his comment was. That sounds like something I would say. No kidding, jackass. There's a reason you have that.
That's odd. That's why I ordered the shirt.
You're right. But to be fair, I did
Yes.
not F up the microphone incident tonight.
No, that was not you.
I wouldn't have been able to fix it because of fucking technology. Right?
For obvious reasons.
But I did not mess this up.
Oh, I'm all over the place on the buttons. There we are. No, that was actually the old man's doing.
Yeah, hang on. I got to lean back again.
Fucking technology.
Yeah, now everybody can see it. Good.
That was the old man's doing. Who do we have in chat room so far, BZ? You're the chat monitor. Because that's technology, and Clint can't do that.
Yeah, you're going to make me get out.
I can read.
And then go into here. Okay. Well,
Easy
we
can't
have
technology either.
Bloviating Zeppelin. We have Jersey Joe, and we have Dan Butcher.
Awesome. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You want to get in the chat room, go to shrmedia.com.
You know, Dan made an excellent point, a great point. KFC's secret recipe is a symbol of racism and must be exposed.
I agree.
KFC is a symbol of racism?
Yes.
I disagree. I think California is a symbol of racism.
And why would you think that, Clint?
No,
It's gonna be like-
before we get into the next segment, here's why.
Okay.
Because the Confederate movement happened because states wanted to secede from the Union, correct? In order to form a government more suitable to their ends. Granted, it had to do with slavery because of their economy. However, the true fight was over whether the South had the right to secede from the Union, correct?
Right.
And the left has cried out every time Texas or Montana or somebody wants to secede. The left cries out, "Oh, that's been settled. The Civil War settled that question, so you can't secede." And our argument has been, well, yes, you can, because the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution taken together, right, original intent, Declaration of Independence says when one government becomes too oppressive, the people have a right and a duty to throw off that government and establish a new one in its place.
Yes, indeed.
Not insurrection, but doing so the proper way, right? Through representatives that are elected to represent the people, not just a group of people that decide they want to stand up and fight the government.
Right.
Totally different.
Very, very different
difference
things.
between insurrection and a revolution or secession. So the left loves to throw that out. That's been settled. The Confederacy tried that, and it's been settled. And now, lo and behold, California wants to secede
Well, it's okay
from
when
the
leftists
Union.
want to do it.
after these jackholes say that you can't because that question's been settled. And now they want to secede, much like the Confederacy did. And obviously, because the Confederacy was so racist, as evidenced by what we see today with Confederate tombs being desecrated and monuments being torn down. And I don't want to showbiz that segment, Sean.
No.
I know you have that. But obviously that was done because the Confederacy was in fact racist, and everybody who fought in the Confederacy was a racist and had nothing to do with states' rights or the ability for a people to secede from a government they perceived to be tyrannical, like the dinosaur.
Right, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And so now, since
Isn't that what you're referring
that's exactly what I was referring to. So since California.
Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
California now wants to join the Confederacy. Clearly, they are racist.
Well, and it's funny because there's another reason.
Does nobody see the logic in that? Like, that's beautiful.
No,
Dizzying,
what I'm
true,
going to
but
say,
beautiful.
I think you're 100% accurate.
Thank
and there's
you.
another thing that popped up this week that proves why California is such a hateful state, is there not?
There is.
Oh.
The Southern
Nice segue.
Poverty Law Center, the SBS, whatever the hell they are, came out and they did a study of the states in the union that have the most amounts of hate groups in them. And, I mean, clearly anybody would know. Thank you. Clearly anybody would know that it would probably be states like Texas, Montana, Ohio, Idaho, Utah, those bastions of conservative hate.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Obviously. I mean, that's not so.
Wait, where is it then?
California.
Impossible.
No, it's true. And even the progressive website, the progressive group, the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's what they said. Number 2 was Florida, and number 3 was New York. Yeah.
Weird.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
Are you saying that those are leftist states?
Yes.
On some level, they are, yes.
Hang on, it gets better. Most of the groups are concentrated in Southern California,
What?
the San Francisco Bay Area,
Well, that makes sense.
and the Sacramento region.
Well, that makes sense, too.
Right?
All the teachers' unions up here are the hate groups. Wait, what?
Wait, what? California easily has the highest number of hate groups operating within its borders, according to the hate map.
The hate.
That's a
hate
thing.
Now
map.
That's not
Hey,
a map.
if you want to go hate somebody, we have a map
We
for
have
that.
a map for where you can go to
show
go
you
do
where
it.
to go.
I wonder if you can put that in like Google hate map, and go for directions.
www.google.maps.neonazi.com.
917 hate groups operating across the country. It includes not only white supremacists, but black separatist organizations and anti-LGBT groups as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Google.
So here's something interesting.
Hate map.
Let's see if it comes up.
According...
Oh, wait, no, it heard him say, so here's something interesting.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Safe search was off again, wasn't it, BZ?
Wasn't it? Yeah. So here's the thing.
right.
There are 130 Ku Klux Klan groups.
We're already starting out great.
We're off to a
Right.
good start now.
Look, we're off to a great start. 130 KKK groups.
Right.
That is a lot of white people that hate people.
In California.
That is a lot. No, just the site's numbers 216 show 130 KKK groups across the country. So white people, the KKK groups, 130. Obviously, the white devil is full of hate because they have the highest number of hate groups, the KKK, correct?
Correct.
No.
What?
No.
There are 193 black separatist groups.
Well,
Quiet.
That's-
Turn his mic off.
Well,
He can't say
63 more.
that's impossible.
There are 63
No,
more.
I watch CNN. That's not
black,
true.
no,
No.
this is from the SPLC.
that. Are you going to sit here and listen to him?
No. Oh, wait, this is from the Southern Poverty Law Center. That
Yes.
conservative bastion. Oh, it's that conservative group that does it. That's why.
Yep.
Yes.
Holy batshit, man.
So this, to me, is crazy.
Well, it's
Crazy.
Crazy, batshit, one each.
It's not crazy in a regular way. It's crazy in a realistic way. Listen.
So wait, California, nearly 80 different hate groups. Okay, the next closest, 80 different hate groups in California. The next closest was Florida with 63.
Okay.
Well, it's
And
Florida.
the third is New York
Sorry, Joe.
with 47.
Well, wait a minute. New York, the liberal bastion.
What didn't I
It's going to be.
just
It's
say?
all upstate
Hang on.
New York.
The lowest number of hate group state, the lowest number, lie mostly in the Midwest.
No kidding.
And
Where all
the
the white
West.
people are.
Wait a minute. Those are
Iowa has 4,
That's impossible.
Wyoming
states.
has 2,
Multiply that by 50.
North Dakota has 1.
Right, and that guy's an asshole. His name is Brick.
That's
Remember we met him that
Yes.
one time? That guy is a
Yes.
douchebag.
So once again, not only is California full of hate,
You can't write this.
No,
not
you can't.
only
Write
is
this.
California full full of hate, but they're Confederates.
Confederate hateful bastards.
California is a bunch of racist,
No
hateful Confederate bastards.
Hey, you know what? I also want to wonder at some point. One of these hate
Wait,
groups.
you want to wonder or you do wonder?
I do wonder.
Okay.
When are these hate groups going to start liking each other to hate everybody else? Like, isn't that their common thread? They're all
Right.
hateful people.
Right.
So why can't they hate everybody together?
They're the same.
Right. They
At their
literally
core,
are.
They really are. Yeah.
I said this from Charlottesville, and I guess we can segue in if that's okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're actually right on time based on the text I sent out earlier.
I said this about what happened in Charlottesville. First and foremost, it was tragic. Somebody lost their life, and other people were injured.
Well, can I go before we go?
Yes,
there,
go
because
ahead.
That's going to be long. There was one other part of that story I wanted to touch on.
Good, Big Nose.
So, anyways, Big Belly, there's
It's fair.
no, it's,
I feel left out now.
It's
yeah,
you old prick.
listen here, old man.
We said don't worry about it. Your medicine's coming later, sir. Medicine's coming later, sir.
Kick that walker out from under me, and I'm not shit, okay?
You're right. Saw that in Vegas. You're in the same spot laying down for 2 days.
We had to change your depends.
I told you about getting propositioned by a hooker.
Yes.
You should have. Did you throw rocks?
He didn't have any. We were in a hotel.
I didn't. Clint didn't hear that.
I'm so disappointed.
Apparently
I didn't hear this.
Apparently, he didn't hear the story.
I didn't. So there's up in San Francisco. There's a rally that they're trying to get permitted at the pro-Trump group called Patriot Prayer, and they're trying to get a permit at Crissy Field, August 26th in San Francisco.
Haters.
Yeah, look, they've recently spoken out against white supremacy views.
Jerks.
However, Nancy Pelosi is asking the National Park Service to reconsider their permit and calling it a white supremacist rally.
Let's be honest. If Nancy Pelosi is trying to stop it, it must be bad, right?
Right. No, that's the point.
That's the only logical conclusion you can come to.
That's the only logical conclusion.
That's the only one.
Well, hang on a second. I think we violated Sackhead Law number 13-2C by using logic and Nancy Pelosi in the same sentence.
Is it stroke 5 or paragraph 2?
Two.
It's paragraph 2.
Okay. It's 2.
It's 2. Although you may have also violated 5, but 2 definitely.
Hold on, I have to go get the mask of shame.
Get the mask of shit. Is it the one with the zipper?
No, I know. Okay, all right, I get it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
God, this sucks. Is it 2 minutes still?
Yeah.
We're
It's
still
2
doing this for 2
It's
minutes?
2 minutes. It's still 2 minutes. But it's BZ who violated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't
No,
believe in elder
he's
abuse.
doing my time for me.
I don't believe in elder abuse.
He's doing.
Hey, that should be an option soon.
doing-
Elder abuse?
Time
No,
by-
well, yeah, that too.
Time
But
by
only in
proxy.
our office.
Right.
No, is such a giving state that California is.
Uh-huh.
If you really love somebody and they get sent to jail for something horrific, you should be able to do the time for them.
Yes.
Sorry, I just had a side thought when he said I'm
Yes.
doing his time
They
for
do
him.
it. They do it in baseball,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Why not here?
Just saying.
You guys
Right.
might want to write that into your Articles of Confederation.
Now, you know what? Think about it, though, right? Because you can give up your constitutional rights.
Of course.
So if I can waive, for example, my right against unreasonable search and seizure
Right.
by consenting for the government to be able to search my property, right? Why can't I waive my right to freedom and say, hey, listen, I gift my rights to this person, and I will give up mine in order to pay that debt.
Why not?
If a debt is paid, does it matter if it's my dollar or your dollar?
Negative.
Does the origination of that dollar matter?
Negative.
Therefore, if it's all about paying a debt to society,
Especially if you follow it like a dollar is taxed, right?
right? So if you're talking about paying society,
Hold on, I
Why
just pissed
can't
off
we do
BZ. Old timer, you had something to say?
Don't they do that in Mexican prisons?
Well, yeah, you can.
yes,
That's what I
yes.
thought.
What's wrong with
And
it?
so if you could, and if you could do that
You
here,
can
and if
be a designated inmate.
so, if
There's
now
so
listen,
many people that qualify.
listen, and if you do a time for somebody else, that's a gateway to citizenship. We could solve the illegal immigration issue right here.
Wow.
Oh, this is a brilliant friggin' idea.
I need to drop the mic after this. Somebody get me a microphone.
Hold on a second.
That's
I need a microphone.
oh my God. That's a concept whose time has come. I think right there.
Dude, you know what? If you ever run for office, just run on that one platform.
Oh my God! You know what? Listen, first of all,
Because you'll already get the illegal vote.
oh yes, yes. So, first of all, can you picture this? Picture like right now, some leftist blogger who listens to this is going to be like, "Sackheads Radio says that illegal immigrants should serve jail time."
Yes,
right?
we
yes,
do.
Yes, actually, they should.
Right, because they're committing a crime.
Criminal. So, since they're committing a crime anyways, they should just front load the sentence, right? Hey, I'm going to come into your community. I'm going to come into your state like illegally. I'm going to let Joe Woods get out,
Right.
and I'm going to serve his time. And since I'm illegal, technically, like you're not imprisoning an innocent man,
Right.
and then I'll be a citizen when I get out. And while I'm in, I have to go through a citizenship process.
The unpleasant blind guy says this is a great idea, but we should only do it for life without parole.
I like it. We should only do it for death penalty cases.
I'm not sure you can or you should because that's called LWOP. And that isn't that insulting in the first place?
No.
Yes.
To Italians.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Which is just horrific. I mean,
Now,
those,
I have a
those
question
poor
for you,
people
Sean.
have done enough.
Is the term paddy wagon offensive to you?
No. It should be because of what it insinuates, right?
Ask him if the sandwich patty melt is offensive to him. Patty wagon, patty melt.
A patty.
Paddy.
No,
So-
no.
P-A-D-D-Y.
Patty
No,
wagon.
no,
it's
it's
patty.
not.
No,
It's
no,
patty.
no, it's Patty Wagon.
It is not.
She was my waitress a couple of nights ago.
Back in
and
1944.
A couple of nights
she's
ago,
great.
back in 34.
That was before his first hip surgery.
Okay, that
I remember for my 60th
that
birthday
shit's
very
not funny,
clearly.
okay?
What, the hip surgery?
It's not funny. I fell down and broke my larynx.
I've heard about that. It's painful
I
as
know
hell.
it is.
I hurt my duodenum one time.
I had such a pyloric Zika infection one day.
Here's the best part is when you throw out certain words, you can see this chat room stops because everyone switches webpage to Google what you meant. And then it comes back like 30 seconds later. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's what it was. I knew it.
What did he say? See, if we could listen to chat room, all the people in chat room would be going, "Oh, Google, hello,
If
Google."
only we could reverse the mics on people's computers from
Wouldn't that be
chat
great?
room like
Hey,
the NSA can
hey,
do.
The NSA can already do that.
Right, that's
That
what I'm
happens.
saying. That's what I'm saying. If
No,
we
they're
could do
listening
it.
to us right now. Oh, that's because we're broadcasting.
Golf in the chat room says, I mixed rum and tequila tonight, and the sackheads are actually starting to make sense.
That's great.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
So hang on a
Good
second.
job.
Since I have a suggestion.
Yes.
I had this last night. I had Jameson, ginger beer, and Myers Dark Rum. Ooh. You're welcome.
Except for the ginger beer.
Really?
Not sure
Don't
about
be a
the-
freaking communist,
Not
BG.
sure about the ginger beer.
No, it is delicious.
Wait a minute. You're talking about a Moscow Mule with rum, and you're talking about communisms? Get the fuck out.
Yes. Hang on a second. It's not a Moscow Mule.
Okay, it's a
It's
Jamaican
more of a
mule.
dark and stormy.
It's more of a dark and story,
Thank
or a
you.
Jamaican mule.
It's not a Jamaican mule either. I didn't make it.
Jamaican me crazy, baby.
Jamaican me
by the
crazy,
way,
baby. Hey,
Yes.
did you
You-
clock
you-
my shirt? Everybody see my shirt?
Yeah, so has anyone
In-
not seen
in
BZ's
YouTube-
shirt?
In YouTube tonight.
For those at home.
For those at home.
BZ walks into the studio tonight
Yeah,
with a
tell 'em.
Clinton Kane shirt 2016, and I about fell out the damn chair. I was dying. Dying.
Here's what BZ should do. He should paint an MC in front of the cane and change the 16 to a 20.
Ooh, well, if he lasts that long.
Oh, well, you could also save it for like 24 when Chelsea runs.
Right.
Yeah.
That actually
Jeez.
was pretty damn good, I have to admit.
no, that
I
was
have-
brilliant.
I have to cede that thought to him.
Thank you.
No, I'll find the black Sharpie in our moving bins. Well, we can make that happen. Oh, man. We'll get into Charlottesville after the break. We only have 7 minutes to go.
Start it.
I got to say two things, first of all, before we do. I want to say happy anniversary to Dan and Jane Butcher.
Happy anniversary.
25 years.
Nice.
that she tolerated his ugly ass. I don't know how
God
she
bless
does it.
the two of you. That's great.
Yeah.
25 years.
And also, our thoughts and prayers to Jane as she's recovering. She had a procedure a while ago, and she's doing much better, and we appreciate it and appreciate them very much. Over at Hard Plains, our broadcast and media
Dan
partner.
was on the show last night, and he was talking to. We were starting to really get into Charlottesville. Man, we were starting to dig into it, and then phone goes out.
Yeah, so here's the thing: when you don't live with it and you're not used to it, because even growing up in New England, we had thunderstorms and big storms all the time.
That's what
but
it was.
Our infrastructure was
Lost
a little
his
bit
power.
different.
Completely
We have a lot
lost his
more
power.
underground lines and stuff like that. It's harder for it to come down. Dan is in Amarillo, Texas, which, as you know, well, it's harder for them to knock out the power.
Underground lines, harder for it to come down.
Mute mic one. So, as you know, Dan lives in Amarillo, which I have yet to go. But I understand it's a lot like the Australian outback. There's not a lot there.
Amarillo?
Amarillo.
That's Spanish for yellow.
Okay. Fuck does that matter?
Well, so listen, there's armadillos in
He's
Texas.
He's just saying he knows his
Hang on a
Spanish.
second.
That's
This
all.
is but
No,
this
no,
is the problem when I allow
listen.
him.
It's a
no,
Spanish
he
lesson.
thinks out loud. and we've talked
it's-
about this.
Look, it's from the Latin root word jalapeno.
You gotta stop
Meaning-
thinking aloud.
Meaning, Texas, we know, was part of Mexico.
Yes.
There's armadillos there. Armadillos are sometimes yellow, particularly in bright sunlight. There's Amarillo or Amarillo, Texas. That's
Isn't
where
that a
it came from.
song, Armadillo by Morning?
Amarillo by morning.
No, I think it's
Amarillo by morning. George
Armadillo.
Strait.
Armadillo by morning.
You're a dildo when? What?
Every morning.
Wait,
I was doing some tech stuff. What happened? I want to know why I come back and you guys are talking about dildos again.
And for those
What
who
is
just
with you
tuning
two?
in,
Oh man, how do we do that?
we got a good chat room. We got, look, Sackhead Sean, BZ, Big Mouth Patriot, Golf Dogs,
BMP.
Mary Brockman, Dan, Dave, and Guest 6001.
Way better than Guest
who is
6000.
superior to Guest 6000. Guest 6000
Sucked.
is so yesterday.
Well, and the problem with Guest 6000 is because they were 6,000, they were a little uppity about it. Right? They thought we were going to give them a prize like there was some fucking supermarket shopper, right? Like
Yeah.
6,000. Oh, yeah,
I was
no, go
thinking
pound
about
sand.
giving them this away.
Well,
no, you
but they
know,
wouldn't take it.
After wearing this, I'm not giving it away.
They wouldn't take it. We even offered to pay them money.
$5 for
Like,
the shirt.
dude, we'll give you $5. Take this shirt out of here. It's a Clinton. Clinton.
to Clinton McCain.
I can't. I will forever now call it a Clinton McCain.
It's a brain worm.
God.
It's a brain worm. You did it, and it's in there.
Oh my God, dude!
It's in there.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
Tonight, on his pillow, he'll find a little dribble on the pillow. What is that? It's a brain worm.
I don't even know how that happened. It's just driving me crazy. This is, 10 years of this shit, Clint. 10 years of this shit.
And I still get
This
to
is
you.
not the first time you've done this to me.
I still get
Where
to
you'll
you.
say something and I'll be in conversation later and I'll regurgitate it like an idiot. But usually it's something evil and mean, and I come out looking like a monster. All because no, screw you.
You know, the cool thing about it is people are paying good money for this right now.
Are they?
Sure they are.
Where?
Yeah, they had to buy a computer
Where?
Yeah.
or a phone.
Right?
Phone?
Right? Or a
They
lava
didn't have to
lamp.
buy it. The
By the
government
way-
gives it to you.
By the way,
Or the lava lamp.
Yep.
the Clinton McCain 2020 T-shirt is copyright pending, patent pending,
Oh, there we go.
I started that last night. That's why they're there.
patent pending.
Patent pending to SHR
The
Media.
SHR media, and we're gonna get that out.
Clint, just so you know, Miss Mary says hello,
Hello.
as does everyone else in chat room. You'd know if you ever opened a computer. Why do I even put it over there?
Well, his shirt.
It doesn't work.
It's a friggin' paperweight.
It doesn't
that one
work.
works. It's a totally different computer.
When?
Like
Fucking
3 weeks
technology.
ago.
Jesus.
I told you about it.
When?
Oh my God, Toab! Don't even turn it on now.
Hang on, let's see if this thing
No,
works.
this is
Now it's old. It's
ridiculous.
old.
Hey,
That's
let's
the
see if
point.
this thing works.
Oh my God! 3 weeks ago when I set it up. 4
Hang on,
weeks
what's this
ago.
button do?
No, wait.
What?
5 weeks ago when I set it up, I said, "Hey,
We were at Freedom Fest 5 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago."
You're
then.
caught right there.
Why? Because I misremembered.
That's called a lie.
No, the date. I'm not trying to lie about the date.
I don't know why you would, Sean.
Because you're an asshole, Clint. Oh, man.
Oh, it works.
Ooh, I like Dave's idea in the chat room.
What's that?
We should so do those shirts as promos for the SHR Media and Freedom Fest for next year. That would
Clinton
be
McCain 2020.
Clinton McCain 2020.
Don't think I couldn't have somebody do that.
I'm hoping you think you can have.
But we
somebody
need
do
like
that.
her face that's on there and like McCain's face. Also, John McCain's face, like both their faces on there, and
Next
then
to
on
each
the
other.
back, Clinton McCain 2028 with Chelsea and Chelsea
daughter.
and McCain's daughter.
Wait, Google images. You know.
And then
has to
underneath the
be-
tagline for 2028, the broads are back.
Broads are back.
You know there has to be a photo.
Dude, you know what I was just thinking too? Their tagline could be bipartisanship.
No, it has to be something with sexual innuendo.
Why not?
Right?
More importantly,
Oh my God, folks! If you're on Google Hillary Clinton, John McCain.
oh no! I know.
And I swear to God, the very first image you get
everyone's
is
doing
the best one.
Everyone's doing it.
That's the best
no, I can't wait for this.
photo. Because it's got John McCain on the left. That's appropriate. Hillary Clinton on the right. And John McCain is leaning over, and he looks so loving it, Hillary. It looks so wonderful.
At least it's not as dirty as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, no. It's just...
Hey, folks, we're up against a break. When we
That's
come
it.
back, we're getting into Charlottesville.
That is awesome.
All that and more right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'll just open up 2 mics because
someone else's GOA.
empty chair.
See, here's the other deal. I'm running Internet Explorer. I'm running Chrome on this thing and Internet Explorer because I got so many damn tabs open. So I'm in chat in Internet Explorer, and the first time I go to Internet Explorer, Exploder.
Internet Exploder.
What does it do? It says, Internet Explorer has stopped working. Close the program. We'll notify you if a solution is available. Thank you.
Well, I love how like you're high on the list for notifications. Like, oh, we'll let you know as soon as we figure this out.
That's right. The other 179 billion people that are ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Calling number 7.
So I guess let's jump into Charlottesville because everyone knows what happened by now. It was this is one of those things where once you start naming the groups, people get pissed off how you introduce them. So I've had people, as soon as you say it was a neo-Nazi group, people go friggin' insane. They weren't all neo-Nazis. I know not everybody there was a neo-Nazi. There were people there protesting on their own accord that weren't associated with that group. I know the Unite the Right has been loosely affiliated because of... we all know, right? Antifa shows up. And everything that they bring along. I'm going to... God, this is so aggravating to me. This whole thing is aggravating. I've been really quiet about it this week, and I'm probably going to lose my shit tonight about it. So I am going to quote Julio Rivera, the conservative Rican, who's an amazing conservative, because I was trying to think about when I had to intro this, how I was going to intro, and then I was reading through his Facebook, and he nailed it. And this is a direct quote from his Facebook. He says, "For all those who are buying the hype of what happened in Charlottesville, it was this. One disgusting hate group went through the appropriate legal channels to obtain a permit to coordinate their demonstration. The BLM Antifa thugs, paid for by Soros, came to instigate violent resistance. The police were told by Charlottesville Mayor Michael Singer to stand down. When they finally wanted the groups to disperse, the police were forced the Nazi jerks to walk through the area that the Antifa and BLM groups were. 5. All orchestrated hell breaks loose because an opportunistic mayor wants to establish Charlottesville as a resistant city in order to further his political career." I really think that sums it up.
The problem with that is that the meme that's gone out is being purchased by altogether too many people.
Right.
And I'm gonna Bigfoot myself and maybe you and Clint up front by saying this: if you think this is about racists and discrimination, you're wrong.
I agree with you.
This is a step. This is the first step. Now,
let me back up for a second and finish to where I was going with this.
Okay.
I don't want to cut you off, but
you did.
But I did, and it's going to be that way. And it's because you're old. What are you going to do?
That's why you're an owner.
You're old. What are you going to do? The reality is, look, you have these neo-Nazi assholes who are fascists. At the end of the day, they're fascists. I don't care if they're pro-Second Amendment, whatever. They step away from the Constitution because they're fascist, right? They believe that one group of people, based on their skin tone, is superior to another. That's what they think. You have the other group, Antifa and BLM, who are assholes too, because they believe essentially the same thing. They will argue that they're fighting from the bottom up and the neo-Nazis are going from the top down. But here's the thing.
The commonality is prejudice.
It is amazing how they are like Superman and Bizarro Superman, if you follow comic books. They hold the same hateful power. They hold the same beliefs about each other. They hold the same beliefs about the races of the other. All in all, they are all assholes. The neo-Nazis, when you walk down the street and you're carrying a Nazi flag, which how many Americans and others throughout the world died to destroy the Nazi regime, and you're going to walk it around our soil, yeah, you know what? It's your right to do it, free speech, whatever. But as soon as I see that, I know you're an asshole. And Antifa, when you're burning our flag and you're using it to wipe your ass and all this other stuff, and BLM the same thing, you're an asshole too, because plenty of people of color have died to protect that flag and this nation.
And establish this nation.
I remind everybody, one of the first people killed for this country, his name was Crispus Attucks.
In Boston.
Yep. He was a black man.
Yep.
So when you do that, you're wiping that flag or burning that flag, you're burning his memory as well. To say that this country is perfect would be an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
It's as close to perfect as we're going to get. And yes, there are some people who need to get the fuck out of the way in life. And they need to cut the shit. But here's the other thing about these protests, and I've said this time and again when it comes to racist pricks from every walk of life. And yes, black people, Hispanic people, Asians, white people, Canadians, everyone can be racist. It can happen.
Not can, are.
Exactly. But the reality of the situation is this. There are 317 million people in this country. You have events like this, you get 1,000 people that show up. It may seem like a lot, but as we're starting to see the Craigslist ads come out, there are people being hired and paid to be antagonistic protesters. They're not even true believers. You've seen this move with unions for a long time during protests, where they hire people to walk around, put a T-shirt on, and carry a sign. Out of 317 million people, they could only forge 1,500 on each side, roughly, and half of them were paid. So when you're talking about racism in this country, it's a bunk. It's bullshit. Yes, there are individual racists. There are small pockets and groups of racists.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, this country is good.
Yes.
And we allow these maggots to write these press lines and this news line and keep important shit out of the news. It's disgusting to me. A girl died because of fucking assholes. And that's what it comes down to. They are all responsible on some level, whether they want to admit it or not.
A girl died because of their involvement, because of Unite the Right, because of Antifa, and also because of the politicization of law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I corked off on this last night. There's probably no need to do it here because, trust me, I took care of that myself last night.
Hey.
But you're exactly right. What happened in Berkeley with Berkeley PD and UCD PD in Berkeley is the same thing that happened in Charlottesville.
San Jose with the Trump rally.
That too.
When Antifa
there's
showed up.
Sacramento.
Sacramento is another one.
That just was instigated yesterday against San Jose PD for allowing people to get struck during a Trump rally.
Yes. And it should be filed.
I think that should be a coming trend.
Look, this isn't the first time that Antifa has squared off against the neo-Nazis.
Nope.
Now, I want to be fair. I hate racists. I hate neo-Nazis.
Yes.
They're a bunch of assholes that has zero place here in society. Do I support their right to speak? Yes, I do. Do I support the right of Antifa to speak?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. These group of assholes, as Sean calls them, meaning the racists, the neo-Nazis, they had a permit. They had a permit for their event, much like they did in Sacramento, and Antifa showed up armed to violently throw them out and overtake their event, much like they did in Sacramento, and there was a confrontation. Now, if Antifa shows up to start, if Antifa didn't show up at this lawfully permitted event, these assholes would have had their rally, spewed their bullshit, and been on their way.
Yep.
There would have been no
news.
violence.
Zero news.
There would have been.
That is true.
That
is true.
Nothing would have happened.
And I know.
So hang on. I'm sorry, real quick. I want to finish this thought. Antifa is the cause of this. It's not the white supremacists. In this case, are there assholes? Did they do stupid shit? Yeah, of course they did, and they're assholes.
Well,
but
there's always going to be those people who argue, well, when you have an event like this, you should expect that.
No. If you're exercising your First Amendment right, you should not have the expectation that your right is going to get shut down. Not in this country. Not anywhere in this country should anybody have that expectation.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm telling you what some people say.
No, I know, and I'm responding to their ignorance.
Good.
So yeah, no, I know that's not you, brother. That's I'm responding to their ignorance for that. So Antifa is the cause of this, much like they were in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Do the neo-Nazis, as much as they are a hateful, shameful, low-life, disgusting organization, do they have the fundamental right to self-defense?
Yes.
Yes, they do. So if a group shows up to attack them, and look, I'd be saying this if this was an Antifa event and the white supremacists showed up to violently shut them down. Do they have a right to stand up and defend themselves? Yes, they do. Does that cross over at a certain point to where they can become the aggressive? Yes. And at certain points, can some members of Antifa be claiming self-defense if they weren't violent? Yes. But that becomes very, very blurry at that point. Mm-hmm. Okay? The bottom line is, yes, both groups were wrong on some level.
Yes.
But Antifa
you can't even say that.
Antifa is more wrong. Oh, I can't say this right here. Antifa is more wrong because they showed up with the intention to violently shut down a lawful permitted event, as disgusting as that group is.
It's antagonistic. They were antagonistic.
Look, in Sacramento, they showed up with weapons. Antifa.
Yeah.
The white supremacists showed up. Right?
They showed up to this event with Coke cans full of cement.
Yes.
Things
so
like
they
that.
showed up with weapons clearly to conduct violence. Do the white supremacists, knowing that this is Antifa's MO, have a right to show up so that they can defend themselves? Mm-hmm. Yeah, damn right they do. As much as I hate them and think that and think that they have their views have no place in our civilized society, I support their right to say what they say.
I have two really quick points that came out of the chat room. One, Jersey Joe said one of the common denominators is Democrat officials in charge of those cities, including Berkeley, San Jose, and Charlottesville, allowed
and
Sacramento allowed Antifa to riot and cause problems. Mary brought a really good point. Mary Brockman out of the chat room. I hadn't even thought about this before, but she said it's funny how Islam is inciting the removal of old monuments that are disagreed with.
I said last night, Antifa is not unlike ISIS.
I have never even thought about that, but it makes sense, right? Because that's what they're trying to do is erase history.
Antifa is a global organization.
Yes, it is.
It didn't start here in the U.S. It actually started in Europe.
It originated in Germany.
Is Germany in Europe?
Yes, but I'm.
So I was right. So BZ, if you haven't read, and all of our listeners, and we've talked about this book before, read The Coming Insurrection. If you have not read this book, The Coming Insurrection, you have to read this book. And we talked about this book like 4 or 5 years ago, Sean, when we were first starting out.
Yes, we did.
And it's written by the Shadow Society.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a group of communists that talk about taking over the world globally. And there have been people that have been arrested affiliated with this in Europe. And look, you can get it very, very cheap on Amazon or something like that. If you get it, don't pay with a credit card. Pay cash. Yeah, I actually got a copy at the bookstore, and it is scary.
Yeah.
It is absolutely scary. And you look at what just happened in Charlottesville and what's happening elsewhere in our country now, and correlate that with the book, and it's like reading 1984, but a modern version.
I bought both of you guys copies of 1984 for Christmas.
Yes, you did, and I read it.
And some of you had not read it.
Who?
And
I read it.
Oh no, I know you guys did.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Once I gave it to you, but I mean, some of the people out in chat and some of the people listening live or in podcast may not have read it before. This is a perfect time to go back and read it. And while you're at it, go back and read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And while you're at it, go back and read about a dystopian future. And while you're at it, go back and read Animal Farm. And while you're at it,
that's a different website, BZ. You're going totally off.
Yeah, that's animalfarm.org. You don't want to do that.
No, it's .net.
Oh, is it .net now?
Yeah, it's .net.
I thought it was plasticsheetsanwessonoil.net.
That was that.
That's a subsidiary of SHR, so that's a different
And read
one
about
too.
Cloward Piven. All of these things are about doing what is in the process of here. Yes, I understand that these were racist actions. I'm going to have Melanie Collette on tomorrow night. I really want to hear what she has to say about this. But there's more, and it's much bigger than just this, and it's purposeful. The intent of this is to focus on race and this gaggle of shitheads that came to Charlottesville. But it's so much bigger than this, because this is potentially the instigation of something that could build into a tsunami. And we could potentially find ourselves losing our First and Second and other amendments and our rights.
Well, so I've talked about this before, and we've talked about this in the past a lot under the Obama administration. One of the things that the left has done since Trump has taken office is really ratcheted up the violence. They've ratcheted up their rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
They've started now removing monuments that they disagree with by themselves. By the way, there's like 4 Lenin statues in this country that are on American soil of
one of
Vladimir
them's
Lenin
in Seattle.
And I don't know why that hasn't come down yet, because I don't agree with it. Number 2, there's a statue of General Lee in Hollywood that I would like taken down and then driven to my house and put into my garage.
Right.
So if we could get on that, that'd be great.
I wonder if
do
they're
not
redoing
attack
that
the
statue
General
from-
Lee, the car, please. But
I wonder if they're removing the well. Look, they removed the TV series Dukes of Hazzard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of you can't find it anymore.
Right.
Certainly, and the album covers, certain album covers of Lynyrd Skynyrd, those are gone.
But I'm drawing comparisons to a lot of what happened with Lenin and the Bolsheviks as they were starting to overthrow the Tsar.
You have to change history.
Exactly.
You have to change history.
And then you start ratcheting up, and if you followed what they did, they ratcheted up the violence slowly. They started with little robberies and destroying some property, this, that, and the other thing. And then when the government would come in and stop them, they would play a victim and garner more attention that way.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing that from the left right now. What happened in Charlottesville, like we said, both sides you can argue that there's some blame that could be shared, correct?
But everyone is being too myopic.
Well, and what's happening now, and you see it right away, right, with news media, the lapdog media that they are, come right out after the president, because Trump didn't come out right away and say, I hate neo-Nazis. He said, I absolutely
the president of the United States should not have to say that.
I despise the violence that took place, etc., etc. He denounced both sides equally from the beginning, or any violent act involved with it, which, to me, says he had enough brains to say, well, I don't think they should have been given a permit, because that would be unconstitutional if they were refused a permit. They have that right. If the city refuses that permit, it's different, because they can cite a bunch of different things. But when the president comes out and says, well, I don't think this group should be allowed to protest, he can't say that either.
Of course
not. So
not.
he was actually very, very choice in his words about that, I think. So then the lapdog media went insane, and it turned out that he's now condoning the violence. Oh, this was okay. And this was all the neo-Nazis' fault. And they're pushing this. And you look at any news media, and anyone you see who's bleeding from the head is a person of color. They're going out of their way to push that.
Yes, they
are. But there are people on the right side of the street, whatever, the fascist neo-Nazi assholes, who are hurt as well. The one good thing that came out of this so far is, and I've said this with all of these rallies, and I've talked about this with racism and these types of rallies. Once they're out in public, at least you know who they are.
Exactly.
And it's costing people jobs. Whether you agree or not, that's the business owner's discretion. If you work in an at-will state and he comes in and goes, hey, were you at that rally? Because I have a picture of you protesting. I don't want you working here.
But there were normal people at that rally too.
There
right,
absolutely
on both
were,
sides.
but that's the risk you take as a person going to a rally like that.
Trump made
You can't say that. He can't say that.
Trump made an excellent point when he said, well, who's next? But like, are we going to take down statues of Washington?
Yes.
And statues of Jefferson?
That's already here. That's already here.
It's coming.
Yes,
There's an
but this-
advocate who is advocating just that. Washington's got to go, and Jefferson's got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a story today.
Yeah. There's a
because
it's here.
Because they held slaves. Look, you can't judge you can't judge history
You can't judge men in history by the times they lived in.
You can't use it by today's standards.
And like you said earlier, when you're being very myopic about it, the reality is you're only looking at what this nation was doing and not what was common throughout the world.
And
look at the friggin' pyramids. Slavery's been around for a while.
Yes.
I'm not saying it was right, but it was an accepted part of time.
The American,
just like saggy pants are right now.
Black people had slaves too.
Who do you think sold the Africans to the slave traders?
The American Plains Indians had slaves.
Yes, they did. And they forced them on their.
Yes, they did.
Yes, on the Trail of Tears.
And it doesn't.
So look, it's.
But these were also the guys who pushed to end it. They understood it.
That was what I was about to say. What country ended slavery?
Right.
It was the United States of America.
It, made it illegal.
And folks on the left, I know you hate this. Slavery didn't start in America on American soil.
No, it was around for thousands of years prior.
The fucking British law was here first, and that's kind of what.
Look at all over the Middle East.
Slavery.
You go into China, they had slaves. Everywhere had slaves. That's part of history.
But my point is here in our country.
Right.
When we were colonies.
Right. That was when slavery was introduced.
Yeah. When we were colonies, our founding fathers were British.
But the point that you made that is absolutely 100% true is you can't judge you can't judge these people by modern standards.
You can't. And don't say America's an evil country because we had slaves. It was the British that started slavery here. America ended slavery. It was the founding fathers and those principles and the words they put in the Declaration of Independence and in the Constitution itself that led to the outlawing of slavery.
Agador has a really good point in the chat room. So when are the BLM and Antifa going to pull down the pyramids? It was built by slaves.
You know what? George Soros should pay for every single one of them to fly to Egypt
and tear them down
and go.
See how the Egyptian government treats them. That's like their only source of income right now. The other part of it too is I know we're up against the break, and then we're going to pick this up on the other side.
We got 4 minutes,
but. There is one pastor, and I've only seen one little news blurb about this. There's a black pastor, I believe it's in D.C., who wants to have the statue of Margaret Sanger removed from the Natural History Museum because of her starting Planned Parenthood and how many black people have died as a result of her actions and what she believed.
She was a huge racist.
Yes, sterilization was her key.
Hillary Clinton was her biggest supporter.
Oh, yes.
And so are women on the left.
Yes.
And so are women on the left supporters of Islam.
But I can't believe that.
And Linda Sarsour.
You hear this guy's making a very valid point. Like, hey, you guys are ripping down all these statues all over this country. What about the woman who single-handedly left countless amounts of death of black and minority children, and we're putting up statues of that, and that's being accepted as okay. Like I said earlier, you have Lenin. How many Ukrainians were starved to death? 5 million?
And there's a movie coming out about that. Yes, millions.
We have statues of him.
Well,
Nobody's saying shit about him.
They're gonna make him look like a hero, right?
Oh God, no.
Faneuil.
Oh,
The infamous Faneuil Hall in Boston, named after Mr. Faneuil, who donated the building so our country could start being founded, essentially. Mm-hmm. They're talking about changing the name from Faneuil Hall because he owned slaves. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. The only reason they want to erase and rewrite history is so they can control the future because you're changing the minds of people. Look at those statues. Depending on where you fall as what you believed, there are still plenty of people that believe the Confederacy was right. Whatever. But those statues should be there as a reminder.
And look, there's people in the South.
Statue of Margaret Sanger to remember what she did.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in the South that believe that, hey, slavery was wrong, but this is part of our heritage. We fought for states' rights, and this is what we remember. We fly the battle flag of Robert E. Lee, who, by the way, was a West Point graduate and was so well respected in the military that they named a freaking boomer sub after the guy.
Yes.
The United States Navy had a ballistic missile submarine called the Robert E. Lee.
Well, we're going to have to sink it, aren't we?
I don't know if it's in service anymore. It was a Cold War era sub.
Yeah.
But it was the Robert E. Lee.
Yeah.
He was a West Point graduate, a tremendous naval officer. Wanted to fight for his home state of Virginia. because he believed in states' rights. So you have the battle flag. There are people that fly the battle flag of Robert E. Lee, which is really what the Confederate flag is.
Yes.
Because they remember what a great man he was, or believe that states have the right to secede. And are there some racists who may fly it because they're ignorant in themselves and believe that it stands for slavery? That's possible. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anything's possible.
Right?
But there's still people walking around with the Nazi flag in this country.
Look, slavery was an abomination.
Yeah. Terrible.
But and was it a catalyst issue for the Civil War? Yes, it was. Was it a war about slavery though? Like if the South won, would we still be the United States and slavery would be legal? No, we'd have two separate countries. Therefore, the Civil War was not about slavery specifically. It was about the larger issue of states' rights. Slavery just happened to be a major catalyst.
When we come back, I'd like to throw the Jason Kessler turd into the punch bowl from Zero Hedge.
We can get to that and more. We're going to cover some more Charlottesville, and then we'll jump into NOCO at the end.
Oh, boy. We got to talk about more Charlottesville, because there's so much more to talk about.
There is, and we will cover it right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Stick around. We will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's Bigfooted enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet. Via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network, 16th of August, 2017. Thank you so much for joining us.
And are we not also heard on the High Plains Pundit
Absolutely
network?
Are heard on High Plains Pundit. Yes. Yes.
Got a question for you. This
Yes,
is
sir.
from Zero
For who?
Hedge. Anybody?
Okay.
Him.
Okay.
Us. Us. It's for us.
Us.
Yes, for us.
This is from ZeroHedge.com.
Okay.
And if you don't read Zero Hedge, you should go there occasionally because they've got some pretty interesting things. Now, this is normally written by Tyler Durden, but it's not this time. But the headline reads, Report, Unite the Right organizer Jason Kessler was Obama supporter involved with the Occupy movement. At first blush, are you not thinking, what the hell? Here's a blog post. If you go to Zero Hedge, you can read this. There's a piece from a book. It says, Jason Kessler, American author. I can't think of any occupation that I admire more than the professional provocateur who has the courage and self-determination to court controversy despite all the slings and arrows of the world. And he was reportedly an Obama supporter involved in the Occupy movement as recently as November 2016, before establishing his white supremacist group, Unity and Security for America, in January 2017. It's an if-then equation.
So he's not really a racist.
If that's true, then knowing what he just said about provocateur, again, are all those fucktards in Charlottesville nothing more than a bunch of dupes for a guy who coordinated that crap? Just throwing it out there.
So here's the funniest part about this.
Just throwing it out there.
Would it shock you or anybody else that somebody from the left would create a group that they would try to pin on the right using hate to fire up the left even more? So you look at BLM.
And all the nationalist, the white nationalist, skinheads, etc., fucktards, they would willingly follow that.
Here's the best part. You look at Antifa. You look at BLM. Where is the funding? And we know this. Where is the funding from those two groups coming from? George Soros.
Somebody's got to pay for all those nice
what
buses.
What was George Soros when he
a
was young?
Douchebag.
Well, he's always been young, right?
No, he's always been a douchebag. He's old as fuck now.
Right. Sorry, I meant a douchebag.
He's a Hungarian member of the former Nazi party.
He was a Nazi. He was a Nazi, believed in the master race, was on board with it. Card-carrying member.
Who was Angela Merkel? A member of East Germany.
Yes. And you look at, but my point is you now have him funding BLM, Soros is funding BLM, Antifa, all these other hate groups. Why? It will tear this nation apart, and then he has enough money to influence the Reconstruction. We've heard about Reconstruction before, haven't we? Weird.
Again. I want to get this guy, Ralph Koken, I think it was. I interviewed him, and I played part of his interview, and I want to get him on live, because what he said essentially is that Saul Alinsky was a rightist. He was a conservative. Well, okay, fine. Bullshit alert. But what he did say, what I did pry out of him, was this. The rules for radicals, all 13 of them, are a system, and they are a system that can be applied to anyone and anything by any group
whatsoever
with an agenda. Anyone at all.
Yes.
Now, he theorized that Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals were hijacked by the left. Okay, that I would grant. Now, he's saying Saul Alinsky himself is not a leftist.
Bullshit. He was really good friends with Hillary.
There we go. Well, he died in 1974, and she wrote a paper about him.
She used to write to him personally. They were on a first-name basis.
But, you can debate that. I don't believe it for a moment. But that having been said, this is a system that can be used by anyone for anything. Hello. That's called a clue.
Well, yeah, but you also look at this mixed with other revolutions, so to speak, as they've been called, depending on which book of history, right? You look at the Nazis taking power, right? You had one common enemy, the Jews. And then you up the rhetoric.
Well, yeah, so you look at, there was an economic situation in Germany, right? They needed to be united in their nationalistic views.
They were still hurting after World War I.
Well, yeah, it was after World War I. They were paying for the entire war themselves because they lost. And lo and behold, here comes Adolf Hitler, appeals to national pride, and lo and behold, they come into power.
George Santayana said, essentially, those who do not live or do not remember history are doomed to repeat it.
Yes.
Does anyone not see the coordination that's occurring now?
I see what you did there.
That's occurring once again, instigated again. In Germany in 1936, 1937. The beer hall putsch. The brown shirts were the Nazis. Antifa started as wearing black shirts to be delineated strictly from the brown shirts.
Right.
And that's where Antifa comes from, anti-fascists. People on the left, just like Saul Alinsky, have hijacked anti-fascists, and now they have become the fascists themselves. But they so willingly...
I disagree.
They
hold on.
willingly...
He means in place
kick
of.
history to the curb.
Wait. Before you say that, I think what he's saying is instead of fighting the fascists, essentially... They're communists, but he's using them to take over,
So
and
that's,
then you can
that's
destroy
what I want to say,
them.
because if you look at Antifa now, yes, they're all in black and everything else, but their stickers, a lot of their stickers and literature and so forth is black and red. And the anti-fascists, particularly in Germany, a lot of them were communist. And Adolf Hitler and the fascists hated fascism and communism are two opposite ends.
Massive loggerheads
are two opposite ends of the
same coin.
Of the same coin. Of the far left big government spectrum. Right?
They're not just that. They're a lot more.
No, they are. But here's my...
Because the people involved in that, they're also anarchists.
Yes.
That are hanging onto this shit just because it's fun to kick people, hit them, and
some
blow
of them,
shit up.
Some of them. But if you look at some of the major anti-fascists, like Yvette Falarca, who was arrested and arraigned in Sacramento County for her things. A Berkeley teacher, folks. She was on Fox News, and I mean, her name's well out there. She was arrested on charges stemming out of the Sacramento attack from Antifa. But this is a majority of the group. Do the anarchists hang on and associate? Yes, they do. But a majority of them are communists.
Yes.
They are still anti-fascist. They still hate the Nazis. The Nazis are disgusting, but it is still communism versus fascism. It's just a modern form. So I don't think that they are the fascists.
But here's the thing.
Now they haven't taken the place of the fascists. It's still the communists fighting the fascists.
But
and they don't believe in the American way. And yes, they do want to take it
But like
down.
I said before, the only reason that Soros and the leftist leaders are using these groups is because they can be easily destroyed
Malleable.
once everything falls apart.
Yes, they can. And they can be used to destroy the American way.
Of course, like they are right now. But make no mistake about it, and Antifa is not, I mean, they say that they're anti-fascist, and they are, but they're not all anarchists. Overwhelming majority of them are flat-out communists. Yes.
And you have to read the book, The Coming Insurrection.
Well, just
You've
look
got
at
to read that book to understand this group.
What was it, 1967, the communist doctrines?
Yeah.
To try to overthrow America. Look at how many things are in that list are happening right now. Take over schools, destroy art, all these different things to unseat America. It's happening right now.
These are right out of the playbooks. Right out of the playbooks. You just have to know what book.
And here's the problem, folks. And
the Communist Party is not dead in the United States.
No, as a matter of fact, there's a movement in California to say that, because right now it's illegal in the state of California to be a communist and hold a government position.
And they're trying to offset that.
They're trying to make that go away.
Here's the scariest thing, and I hope people are really starting to understand this. It's only going to be one rock, one Coke can full of concrete, one more car, one bullet that could trigger the whole goddamn thing at this point. I don't think people understand the depth and severity of what is going on in this country. Because just like you had with the Confederacy, right? It wasn't a huge amount of people at first that was standing up and saying, no, we believe in states' rights.
Or the American Revolution.
And
looks, granted, some people in the Confederacy was, we just want to keep slaves.
Mm-hmm.
But, 3%?
Yeah, it was small. But what happens is people start to see them being persecuted by government in their opinion and go, oh, no, I'm going to stand with them because that's not right. The same things happen with Antifa, right? How many people are running around with these Antifa groups that has no idea what they're doing there, other than running around because they feel bad for them, right? It's this false misplaced of guilt.
Think they know. I think
no,
they know exactly.
No,
what they're
the
doing.
leaders do. Certain parts of it do, but there are more and more people who just feel sympathetic towards them, so they show up.
And they're dupes.
But those same dupes would absolutely take up arms at this point. It's getting close.
I think that I don't think there's a whole lot of dupes running around with Antifa.
I'm not saying they're all dupes, but they're busing these people in.
I don't even think the majority of them
they're like
are
the
dupes.
Hells Angels, and there are prospects, and there are hangers-on.
Yeah. But what I'm saying
That's what it is.
Once that one incident happens, God forbid, if it ever happens, that will be enough to get people to come out of their houses and say, fuck this. One side or the other.
I'm with you. I don't think people in power realize how close and how volatile this country can potentially become overnight.
I think they do. I think the ones on the left.
Don't believe
I
so.
think the ones on the left do.
And are banking
okay,
on
all
it.
right,
And
all right, okay.
I really do.
They're banking on it.
I think the ones on the left do because
I get that.
Yeah, because they need that
Yep.
fundamental change, that
Well-
push. And based on Pelosi's statement and trying to call this prayer group, this pro-Trump prayer group, racist and all this other stuff, there's now a push to try and label every Trump-supporting group
As a hate
group.
So,
And this isn't the first we've seen it, but now we have a member of Congress
asking,
getting
demanding.
involved in this and actively trying to.
But this kind of brings me back to what I was saying at the beginning when we started talking about this is the left lost. They had momentum, they thought. They had the ability. Then what happened? They fucked up so bad
They keep losing, too.
for many years under the Obama administration that a majority of the country swung right, and they swung right hard.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have to do? Well, when you're trying to blame white conservative Christians for putting Trump into office and holding down everybody else, and that's their belief, that's not what's going on, but that's their belief, well, you turn every single fair-skinned person into the devil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are these younger generations who don't read history because they weren't taught history because the schools aren't teaching the appropriate history.
Or they're using Howard Zinn's book.
Right, or they're going to these little, some of these churches where you have this bully pulpit of this really angry pastor who was much like Obama's pastor, who starts fueling it. And why would this guy lie to me? He's a person of God, so even he wouldn't lie to me. That has to be true.
Right, you've got Wright buying into it, and on the left, you've got Flieger, a Caucasoid, buying into it,
You have
too.
a lot of
He's
people.
got them both captured.
Yes.
Goody for him.
And you're starting to get these people building up that are just ignoring what the reality really is and how horrible it really is. And they believe, they're like the Bolsheviks at this point, right? Only it's going to be the fascists that take over because these people are expendable, and we have enough uber leftists that are close enough to fascists in government right now.
Communists?
Just this side of it, right?
Communists.
Yeah, but Soros is funding it. They're gonna be lapdogs either way. They're gonna be in power, so they'll play along. They think they're gonna be in power. Why do you think there's a big, humongous push again for gun control?
Look, no.
You have what's her face here, the former AG in California, coming out and saying,
Kamala Harris.
"Isn't it time for us again to once again visit why we should have a nationwide assault rifle ban?" You have the disarming effect in a place. You have the uprising in a phase. You have two groups in this country, those of us on the right, those of us on the left, who are now at loggerheads. And you have all these small little factions that are blowing up here and there and blaming the other side for it. And I'll tell you right now, this is a boiling cauldron of dangerous shit that people are making money off of and ignoring what the potential real outcome could be. It's right there. When I say it's a bullet away, it's a bullet away. And it's a horrible thing to say. Because you look at World War I. What started World War I? The Archduke Ferdinand being assassinated. One bullet.
Much less than, say, 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah.
World War I, World War II, much less than 9/11.
You just need
for America.
You just need the right martyr. right? At the end of the day, you need the one person to be hurt that
Here's
those
the
people will sympathize
only
with.
difference, gentlemen. There's no government involved at this point. It would be citizen on citizen, but there's no government action to be blamed, at least outwardly, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of the
But look at what the
difference.
media's doing this weekend.
In order for no, you're right. But what I'm saying is for the violence.
Look
right?
at what the media is doing this weekend. They're trying to say he condoned the violence by the neo-Nazis.
No, they're trying to say
Right.
that. But so let's look at the American Revolution.
People are buying it. They're buying
Let's look
it.
at the.
He doesn't have to do anything. They just have to believe he did.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let's look at the American Revolution. You had British soldiers firing on an unarmed crowd.
Mm-hmm.
British soldiers, again, government marching at Lexington and Concord, right? You look at the Civil War. You had Fort Sumter, right? Which is kind of what started that off. Again, a government involvement. And then you had a government of the Confederacy that was elected by the people, raised an army, fought the Union. Government raised an army. You have citizens here that are going to be fighting each other, not armies, not elected groups, not people with elected groups of people or set states, for example, state legislatures that are raising soldiers and so forth to be able to do this. Can it come to that point?
Absolutely.
Sure, it can. You look at California and you look at particularly California that wants to secede and how freaking wingnut they are. We could get to that point. Our leaders are starting to ratchet up. So do I think that could there be pockets of violence between individuals? Yes, I do. Do I think normal people can be sucked into that where you don't have the Sean, your term, asshole neo-Nazis or the asshole Antifa people involved in this? Can that spill over because people are just pissed off on either side?
Yes.
Yes, that absolutely can happen. Do I think that is going to spark a nationwide civil war? I don't think that will. But what I think will is as our political leaders start weighing in on this stuff, and it's not like one bullet, this crowd, now people come out into the streets, but now it's like Pelosi coming out and saying on this side, and then these other leaders say here, and then one state says, you know what, your leaders said this, so now we're gonna pull out and we're gonna stand up for this as a government, which California has already started to do with some of their legislation.
Already
and
happened.
That's where it's going to go slippery slope. So I disagree that it's one bullet away that's going to spill this violence over because government's not involved. But can it get to that point? Absolutely, it can.
Yeah, but now if you have certain members of government start siding with these groups, like you just mentioned, right, and start condoning it, all of a sudden you have a mayor or a governor who's ordering, say, law enforcement to get involved.
Now, that would be my point, right? You have to have that level
Granted, you will have a vast majority that are going to walk away and say no. That's absolutely going to be true. I don't care what anyone says out there.
Yes,
it will absolutely be true. They may even start their own little splinter organization to fight against the ones that went away because constitutionally they know they're out of bounds.
It'd be a mess.
That's all hypothetical. But now you have government agents getting involved, and if they start choosing sides, here we go.
And that's what you have to have if they're choosing sides. And that could be where kind of that danger and misperception could come in, because if let's say Antifa, for example, starts getting violent on another group of neo-Nazis, or neo-Nazis get violent on a group of lawfully protesting Antifa, and now law enforcement intervenes, the perception is going to be that they are acting in concert with whoever, right?
It's already here. I could make an excellent argument for the fact that instead of 3 branches of government, there are 4 branches of government. There's the executive, the legislative, the judicial, and the bureaucratic. And I would submit to you that in many ways the bureaucratic branch has more power than the other 3.
Well, so you look at right now, what are they doing? You look at this government right now, right?
Who has the grip of the balls of what's happening in D.C. right now?
You can't even pass the one thing everyone knew was supposed to be coming under this administration. You can't get them to agree with it. They are in such gridlock that they can't do anything. They are the prime for the people to turn around and say, why don't we deem them insolvent because they can't do anything, and our government isn't working because of the way it is.
Because we don't have the constitutional authority to do that.
I know, but that doesn't. So, but you're thinking logically with illogical people. The people that will storm Congress and go to these Antifa marches, they don't give a shit. You keep thinking like how you would think.
No, I don't think they give a shit. But what I think
Excuse me.
I think within the law, and I think within
was
what
nasty.
what I believe or what I know to be within constitutional, and so that's what I have to say is the appropriate course of action.
But you look at, let's go back to
If
the 19th.
if you're talking about disbanding Congress, we don't have the constitutional authority to do that. Might Antifa storm Congress?
Or get enough people to start making an effect on it and try to overthrow government?
But again, that's
Sure.
what? That is an insurrection. That's not a revolution.
Absolutely. No, so what we call insurrection, they'll call revolution, right? We know
They
that.
will, but we know that's not
But
the
we
case,
know it's
right?
not true.
It's actual
but
insurrection.
that doesn't change what it's going to be called in the history books. Doesn't change what it will be deemed at the
So
time.
let's take your scenario. And,
But I want to go one more thing before we do, and
because I want to get back to your scenario.
I agree. 19th Amendment, right? We talked about this how many times?
A lot.
What was the point? Because you could sway the people easier than you could sway the
Yeah,
state.
more
So
of
for
a
the
pure
direct
democracy,
election,
right?
That's what they're
Right.
going for now. Go. I'm sorry.
So your point. Let's take this out. Tomorrow, a large group of Antifa, they come in from Europe, Germany. Sorry, BZ, and they come over to the United States.
Is there anything in the charter that says I can't do this?
No, you absolutely can. No, all day long.
That's encouraged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's respected.
Okay.
Yeah, that's respected.
I had to look. I
We're
didn't
not
know.
a
I
pure
hadn't read it.
democracy.
I hadn't read it in a while.
Yeah, no, we respect that. So they come over from Germany, not Europe, and a large group storms and takes over the Capitol. The United States Capitol Police is overrun. The chambers of Congress are overrun. There is a violent takeover of Congress.
You and Dave are on the exact same thought, by the way. He's literally typing this as you're saying it.
They're at the White House.
Right.
It is an insurrection. The President of the United States activates the United States military to put down the insurrection. The United States military is activated to put down the Antifa insurrection. Now, because you use the military against this group, you have states such as California that say you can't do that against that citizenry. They're exercising their rights, what we perceive to be their rights. They activate the California National Guard and the California Military Reserve
And the Air Guard.
and the Air Guard, and they say we're separating from the United States because you now unlawfully use force against the citizenry, some of which were our people. And that is a very real possibility.
And
of
it's
how
not
that can
just
start.
California that would do that, by the way.
No, it's not. Boston, Massachusetts,
New
New
York.
York,
Yep.
right?
Connecticut.
Oregon, Washington, John
Illinois.
McCain.
All of John McCain.
All of John McCain. So, and now you have some other countries involved, like Angela Merkel, wig pussy, as we like to call her, pussy wig. Angela Pussywig comes out, and now Germany's involved, and on the
Well,
side of
it becomes a UN incident, right? Because now there's absolutely human rights
human
violations
rights
going
violations.
on, right?
So that is how I can see. And you know what? What better way to start that than
to
pay
have
these
those-
people to do it, right?
Right. Group of martyrs. You have these group of these poor
And-
martyrs
and-
who are just trying to affect
And
change.
to be clear, if those people did that, they're a bunch of we disagree, bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
They have no legal
You have no legal right to
authority
do so.
do that.
No, they're absolutely committing treason at that
Insurrection.
point. Absolutely committing treason. But one man's insurrection is another man's
The
revolution, in their
Hague
opinion.
and the UN couldn't wait to get in here.
And you wonder why, when I talk to Soros about some people, everyone's like, oh, conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. No.
Soros is a conspiracy theory.
He is a living conspiracy theory. But you look at people, and he's not the only one. He's the most famous one.
Hang on a second. I just caught on to what you just said. The UN would love to get in here. I would love to sit back in an armchair with a bag of Cheetos and a soda and watch the UN try and go into Texas.
Oh yeah,
I would love to see those blue helmets.
I would
come into
immediately
Texas.
strap
Yeah.
on the press.
Oh, yeah.
vest and helmet.
You'd see more white beat up Land Rovers than ever before.
They would just come out on fire. Like,
oh, it'd be so great.
So here's the part. Here's the part that people forget about Texas.
Dan
Whatever
Butcher
you-
is going to be laughing his arse off when he
BMP
hears
will
this.
too. Whatever you think Texas has for armament, you're underestimating it.
Yeah.
and I
By
don't know what you
1,000%.
think.
Yeah, triple
I would
it,
not be
yes.
shocked if Texas had its own nuke. I wouldn't be shocked.
No, they do. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And they bought one from Russia after it fell, just in case. Because they still have the right to get out if they
You
want.
remember all those Soviet backpack tactical
Yes,
nukes-
that's what we're
nukes
talking
went?
about right now.
I know where they went.
Wasn't there a couple Russian subs that disappeared?
Yeah,
and,
Texas
all
has them.
kinds of
Yeah,
shit,
a couple of Kula class.
Well, you know what's kind of
Why
funny
do
is
those
Texas
things have
actually,
red stars on them?
Yeah.
Never mind.
I think
Nothing to
Texas.
see here.
It was
no, that's
supposed to
the
be
star of
white.
Texas.
It was supposed to be a white
Yeah.
star.
That's a lone star. We're putting more white in there.
You know what's funny is
reducing the amount
Texas,
of red.
I think Texas actually has a naval reserve
Yes,
also.
they do. Yes, they do.
I think they have a naval reserve.
They actually
also.
have all 4 branches.
They might
5,
have
actually.
They might have an aircraft carrier.
If not, I know where they can get one. I'm just saying.
Get out of my
I'm
head.
just saying. I'll meet them there. I'll cut the ropes. Let's go, boys. I'll start putting coal in.
We going to the Bay Area?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you guys go to the Bay Area. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm pulling the Missouri out of dock.
You go to Hawaii, you go to the Bay Area, and I'll go down to San Diego for the Coral Sea.
No, Sean, you're rerouted.
I'm going to the Constitution.
You're
aren't
going to the
I? That's going to be a bitch to get out by myself.
Sorry, you drew the short straw.
Damn fat fingers.
We knew you were clever.
Hey, we have the Case and Young that's right next to it as well, another World War II ship. So we can pull the Case and Young out. Yeah. Wait, there's also the USS, there's one down in, I think it's the USS Salem down in Quincy. So there's a couple we could get fired up again.
Yeah, we go get the diesel sub out of San Francisco. Doesn't belong there anyways.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Pompanito.
Pompanito.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you want to be really cool,
that means Little Pumpin', just so
right
you know.
next to the Coral Sea. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not
I
the
read
Coral
that
Sea. It's
somewhere.
the Midway. It's the USS Midway.
Midway in San Diego.
It's down in San Diego.
Yeah. Yep.
And right next to that is the Soviet sub. How cool would that be? That's a diesel burner
Finally
right
use
there.
it for good.
You know what? That's kind of sick that they have that thing stationed right next to the Midway.
You know what would be a riot? Is pulling up in a sub to one of the marine gas stations and be like, you guys have a longer hose? You know how to bring this in? It's going to go down a little ways.
You know what would be a riot? Antifa and white supremacists. All this and more on the Sackheads Radio Show when we're back from a break.
Oh, no! Why? Oh, my God.
We bit for that one, Sean.
Dude.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network for the 16th of August, 2017. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Before we went to the break, we were highlighting all the ships that if we had to take them and put them back into action, we could.
That was fun.
and then Clint spoke and we went to break. So
you know what one of the baddest ass ships in mothballs may be?
What's that?
USS Kitty Hawk.
Kitty Hawk is in mothballs.
And it's a badass ship.
Badass
Have
ship.
you ever smelled mothballs?
Yeah.
How'd you get their little legs apart?
Oh, it's simple. You hold them by the wings.
Okay.
that's always worked for me.
By the way, the internet doesn't work on this computer that is fixed.
Perfect.
I've been trying to get in chat all evening.
I'm sure it's the computer.
No, look, I click on this little thingy right here because that's the internet thingy.
I just want to close up with Charlottesville really quick. You now have cities like Baltimore and other cities demanding that every single statue of the Confederacy comes down. You had the group that was pulling down, what was it, Robert E. Lee down in North Carolina.
Right.
You
Baltimore last night.
You also had, government did that.
Yep.
They came in right away and took them out. You also had...
that's disgusting.
Abraham Lincoln Memorial was vandalized.
Yep.
And Dr. Ben Carson's house was vandalized.
Saw that too.
When I say that the rhetoric is ratcheting up to a point that's frightening, and, we worry about ISIS in this country, we worry about terrorist groups in this country, we need to start worrying about Antifa and the other ones, because they're only an idea away from starting to commit these acts. Look, we've seen it with the Weather Underground. We've seen it with ALF and ELF. We've seen it with domestic terrorist groups before. And the possibility is there. Look, we talked about the Bolsheviks and the revolution. It started off as political, and then they started to ratchet it up because they know if they get put down, they become martyrs to their cause. It's a very frightening time to live in right now. Speaking of very frightening times to live in, I want to move it right on over.
Look
to NOCO.
I wish we were around last week.
Oh, I know. I know.
When North Korea was going through their bullshit, but it got pretty intense there for a little while, where North Korea was threatening to strike Guam with a nuclear weapon, and Little Kim has since pulled back after the United States basically said, yeah, we're just going to kick your ass.
Well, and everyone was saying that, hey, tone down the rhetoric, folks. Tone down the rhetoric, right? Because that will accomplish nothing until it accomplishes something.
Yeah. Look, North Korea actually has plans to attack the United States. If you look at one of the propaganda, there's a propaganda photo that was out there, and there's a map in the background with lines from like North Korea to where they believe they can target with their missile system. And San Diego was one of the places that was on the map, an air base in Texas, Washington D.C. So they had some major places that they had targeted. San Diego, obviously, because of the Pacific Fleet.
Oh yeah,
and so forth. But look, a nuclearized North Korea is a reality now. And this can be traced back to Bill Clinton when he signed the the agreement with North Korea for renewable energy.
And his good friends, the Chinese,
Yeah,
who
and-
then
and-
provided that technological information directly to their good friends, the North Koreans.
Yes, and they promised to take away their nuclear program, but then we let them keep the fucking rods, the fuel rods.
Well,
which can be weaponized. Anyways, I digress.
We're stupid again and again and again. Look
Well,
at what's happening in Iran
Yes,
now.
I was just going to point that out.
Because Iran is thinking, well, look at North Korea. I bet we could do it too.
Look, and Obama fell in the same trap that Bill Clinton fell into with, like you brought it up, the Iran deal. We are going to be in this exact same place with Iran in 10 to 20 years. That we are now with North Korea. But
closer, much closer.
We're going to be in this place with Iran.
We're going to be,
at some
yes,
point.
we will.
So now you have this madman in North Korea.
Hello.
With a nuclear weapon. And look, I believe he would use it. There's another report that came out, too, that he has massive amounts of chemical weapons.
Huge.
That are capable of being
that just came
used
out today.
in that theater as well. And look, he could attack Guam very easily. And now there's speculation that he can actually attack the mainland United States all the way as far east as Chicago, which is half the country. Hey, their guidance systems may not be very accurate, but hey, if he's
You're not exactly dealing with pinpoint weapons.
If he's aiming for Los Angeles and hits San Francisco, it's still a freaking problem.
Listen, it's the idea of grenades at that point. It's not a sniper's round.
Yeah, it's a problem. And if this guy's saying he's going to use them, that's a problem. China came out and said that they would remain neutral if North Korea attacked first. So what's North Korea going to do? They're just going to provoke and try and get us to
why wouldn't they?
First, right?
Why wouldn't they?
It's almost like the mouse that roared scenario.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? But this mouse has a nuke, and they'd use it. They've done some crazy shit. Okay, they did the tunnels into South Korea. They mined the DMZ, blew up a couple South Korean soldiers.
Didn't they?
They sunk a ship.
Yeah, I was going to say they took out a ship.
They
not too
fired
long ago.
onto the island and killed some villagers with a South Korean village that they shelled. Yeah, they've fired on us, not us, but our South Korean allies several times.
Yeah,
and nobody has punched them in the nose.
Nope.
But guess what? If we punch him in the nose at this point with conventional weapons, I absolutely believe he'd go nuclear right away.
Well, and I think one of the
the only thing that he might is because I believe he's afraid of dying, which is why he disappeared after Trump came out and said, "We're going to kick your ass,"
which his father did and the grandfather did when the tensions were when we invaded. I'm sorry, during the Gulf invasion. The dad disappeared for 2 weeks too because he was afraid it was going to come back to him on some level.
And by the way, little Kim, I want to call you out right now. You think you're a god. People worship the statues.
His people, many of his people, believe that he is in fact a deity.
Yes.
From a family of deities.
Yes. People pray and bow to your family's statues, and people think you're a god. I think you should prove to your people that you're a god. I think you should stay out in public. Drive around in open-air vehicles.
As much as you can.
As much as possible. As a matter of fact, I think you should go out on one of your ships and stand on the bow of one of your ships and come out into international waters.
For as long as you can.
And flip the bird to every U.S.
Have you ever
vessel
seen Titanic? Get your favorite general.
Yeah.
You're the king of the world.
Yeah. Look, and
I
go
will,
out there.
I will get What's-Her-Face to come out and sing a song to you on a vessel if you do it.
Right. So show us that you're, as a matter of fact, go and walk into South Korea through the DMZ into South Korea and slap a South Korean soldier,
a Marine,
and then walk back to the North Korean side and prove to everybody that you're a god and not a giant vagina, not a big, fat, slobbering, loose-lipped vagina. And I meant loose-lipped in the mean because he talks so much about killing America.
Talking,
Yeah, I didn't mean anything dirty by that.
Can I point out a running link through this? And I'm sure everyone says it in every generation. but point out something to me right now involving the United States that isn't absolutely critical.
In the United States, that isn't critical?
That isn't critical. Where we're involved in something that isn't critical.
The Russian probe.
Ooh. Well, okay. That could be. But I mean, foreign policy, North Korea, China, Russia, locally, the societal cataclysm that's coming, the D.C. crisis, the government crisis, the crisis in all the individual states. I don't think there's one aspect that truly isn't. We've been. Maybe I can summarize it up this way. I submit that people on the right have been pushed to the point where something terrible happening is almost a foregone conclusion.
Yes. I agree with it.
I say, on what level this occurs, and in what venue it occurs, I do not know.
And how many people are trying to blame, you look at North Korea again, how many people are trying to blame Trump for everything when even Al friggin' Gore said, hey, this isn't all his fault. There's 3 other presidents that should have been dealing with this prior to him. He's just kind of dealing with what's there. Yeah, I don't agree with what he's saying, but something's got to be dealt with.
And the Republicans are not helping. Not helping.
At all. At all.
They can't even agree to repeal Obamacare. So what they're saying is that Obamacare is infinitely better in its current form than what we had before.
Look, I don't want to get off topic here, and I want to stay on.
I want to
stay on North Korea.
I was just looking at a thread.
Yeah.
A commonality throughout all this.
No, there is absolutely. But here's the thing about North Korea is for the first time since the Cold War, the United States and its territories are preparing for an actual nuclear attack.
Yeah.
Hawaii is preparing for an actual nuclear attack. They haven't had to prepare for an attack since World War II.
Right.
Not even in the Cold War, really.
Here's where I chime in. And we were taught in grade school, duck and cover.
Yep.
Why? Nuclear attacks.
Yeah.
Stay away from the windows, kids.
Oh, I thought that's how you started fire. Sorry.
That was stop, drop, and roll.
You don't remember, but I certainly do. The CD emblem, civil defense.
Yes, and the only reason I know that is because my family's from Hawaii. So that emblem is
everywhere,
all over the place there. Yeah. Older and stuff. But growing up, I remember seeing that all over the place. But here's why Hawaii and Guam and so forth is in danger, because we would have another Pacific War, right? If North Korea is going to go for it, they would have to take out our Pacific Fleet
first,
which is in San Diego and
Hawaii.
Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. So
Washington. We have our major subfleet
Bremerton.
in Bremerton.
Yep. And their missiles are capable of hitting all those targets, supposedly. But hey, subs can only do so much too, right? So, but you take out those 3 bases first, and that's a big deal. Look, they're crazy enough to do it. People in Guam are actually preparing for a nuclear war. I believe one thing Obama did right is he wanted our nuclear missiles upgraded, and look, I give the man credit for that.
They needed to be
100%. He reduced their number. But he also increased their effectiveness. So good on him, right?
Yes and no.
No, I'm gonna say
I'm gonna say yes and no. He shouldn't have decreased the numbers, but he should have upgraded.
Yeah, unless he was decreasing numbers because you couldn't upgrade them, right?
Well,
because they were.
I don't know the exact capabilities to argue that.
Yeah, I don't either. But
I think a lot of that was
a possibility. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I think that if he modernized our nuclear arsenal. And decrease some numbers, but actually overall increased our effectiveness. Good on him.
Okay.
And I'll give the man dues.
I'm not saying no.
But nuclear war is a very, 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 very real possibility. Probably the first time since obviously Hiroshima and Nagasaki. By the way, how messed up would it be if nuclear weapons were deployed on yet another Asian community? That's how fucking racist we are, folks. Well, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I'm kidding. Throw your face right now, Sean. Perfect.
You know it's bad, though. But I do want to bring up a point.
Yeah.
We talk about nuclear war, and there's a reason why Japan is taking such a hard stance on North Korea right now.
They've been there before.
They have been there before,
Yes.
and they're in the sights.
Yes.
They don't want to go through it again.
Nobody wants to go through it, right?
Well, exactly, but they have
They
firsthand
have
knowledge.
firsthand experience.
Yes.
Absolutely. Look, it'd be terrible, but it is a very real possibility. And not since the Cuban Missile Crisis do I think we have been this close to nuclear war. And look, it's one of those things where if we hit North Korea, I think they would deploy. I do. But here's the balancing act. Can we allow North Korea to continue to manufacture more nuclear warheads?
No.
And the answer is a resounding no. So at some point, thank you, Bill Clinton, we have to address this threat.
Well, and you
it's
also have to address two other players in this. You have to address China.
And I was just going to bring that up. I think the best play right now for China, because China's fucked.
Either way.
North Korea is going to lose a war with the United States, whether it's conventional or whether it's going to go nuclear. North Korea will lose. If we're fighting in it, and we defeat North Korea, the Korean Peninsula will be united. They will be a U.S. ally. They will be on China's border. China cannot afford that.
Let me throw another evil thing into the mix.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So China, the best thing China can do, I think, is take care of North Korea themselves. Take out Little Kim themselves. Put new leadership in place that are loyal to China, still communist,
but
maintain that buffer on the Korean Peninsula. Don't sign an armistice, sign a peace treaty, end the hostilities, and we can still maintain a presence there, whatever, that's fine, but you don't have the United States on the doorstep. You maintain your buffer and you maintain your influence in the region, and now you can import your coal and all the other bullshit you need to do. I don't know if China's going to have the stones to do it.
Right.
But I believe that's the best case scenario for China.
Well,
but if they don't get involved, at some point, we have to. We can't let North Korea and this crazy bastard continue to increase the size of his nuclear arsenal.
I don't need to have the guy shoot at me when he tells me his gun is real.
Especially when we know he's fired rounds. We know it's loaded.
Right. They're
let me
militarized
throw
too.
a stressor into the mix for China, and this is not talked about, but it's been occurring now for about 2 years, and it's only getting worse. The IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, has said that China's debt is what they call on a dangerous trajectory. That is a stressor for China. And when people think that China is this massive, non-combustible, entirely unified entity that can mass produce anything and will build anything, it's in a terrible way right now. It has massive debt, not unlike us, and it's not used to doing this before. It's not used to having debt, and it's not used to trying to manipulate a capitalist society, which is they're starting to go from, to, by way of Hong Kong, internally. That's putting pressure on the Chinese administration and the administrators as well. They're not as strong as you think they would be. It's not impossible for them to do something silly, stupid, or fattening also.
So are you saying that China may let the U.S. Go in first because there are those in government that want a democratic neighbor because they want China to go to a purely capitalist system?
China always wants you to think that they are wants you to think that they're operating from a position of power all the time. And I think the IMF just said no.
That's one thing I actually kind of like about him.
The IMF said that the world's second largest economy, China, must move towards a sustainable growth path.
They can't do it with North Korea acting the fool.
It'll never happen.
They can't.
No.
They can't do it as long as North Korea keeps acting like this. And these sanctions hurt China too.
And what are they?
Yeah, they do.
What happens when the aftermath comes around, and
Which
an
aftermath?
assload
Talking
of
Fallout,
North
or-
Koreans migrate
I love that game.
from North Korea and
Migration.
into China?
Fallout.
Guaranteed, Russia is going to stop that shite.
Yeah. Well,
China, they have to be on the border too, and they are already on the border in case of that.
Well, so we also hear, first of all, China and India having border troubles right now. They're actually fighting on the border. I saw that news report today.
China and India?
Yeah, they're having a border squabble. It's amazing how that hasn't made big headlines, huh? You have two major nuclear nations that are squabbling over a border.
Hasn't that border been in place for a little while?
Couple
Like
years.
at least a couple months, right?
Yeah, at least.
Like they should know what that border is.
The warranty may have run out, but it's still there. I mean, it's relatively new.
It's like PD and the sheriff's department trying to kick debris from a crash over the city county line.
Oh, that never happens.
Never dragged 4 feet.
What people don't realize is that China
Yeah, point
is
of impact is
throwing
right here.
lots of money to many nations that are not U.S. linked, and they're attempting to rebuild much of these governments' infrastructure. That's why the IMF is saying that this is unsustainable. They're trying to do in various hemispheres what the U.S. started to do and is continuing to do now. They're trying to become an influencer with cash. So by doing that, that cash is not remaining liquid and fluid in China. They're saying that's a big problem. They're saying that 6.7% growth for this year, for 2017. The report warned that the country's debt could soar from around 235% of GDP last year to 290% shortly.
But here's one thing that China's doing that the U.S. I don't think is, or at least maybe not to the extent China. Isn't China holding a lot of metals, gold in particular, in order to have some sort of solvency?
Yes, they are. I was in the process of writing articles, so I'm not going to bigfoot myself about how there's a big critical fight now for precious metals and an attempt to. Well, China's already storing gold. Russia's already storing gold.
Yeah, we're not.
Well, I'd still like to go in and see Fort Knox, which is a terrible conundrum of itself, because what happens if you go in and you find that there's a ton of gold in Fort Knox, as opposed to if you go in the doors and you find there isn't shit in there?
There's just a couple old watches on the floor.
So what?
Like, that's it.
And they're fake from China.
But ask yourself, what is any currency? A currency is only good as what people think
It's an idea.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a concept.
Yep.
From day to day and hour to hour.
Yep.
Think 1929.
Yeah, and if the United States, the citizens obviously say, you know what, I have no faith in our currency. Guess what? It's not worth anything.
No.
It's going to be like
Because
a continental.
Under what? See, that's what the Chinese are attempting to do, and the Russians as well, because they're saying they're looking at America and thinking simultaneously, what backs U.S. debt? We went off the gold standard.
Yes.
Thank you, Richard M. Nixon, 1974.
You know what backs U.S. debt? Actually, wasn't it Johnson? Wasn't it
Nixon.
Not Johnson.
Nixon.
It was Nixon took us off the
Nixon.
gold or the silver standard?
No, he took us off the gold standard.
To the silver standard.
Yeah.
So
We
who
have
took us,
nothing backing.
Who took
Nothing
us off
Now
the
we
silver
know.
standard? So I don't know. That was a legit question, because I know we went to because you used to get silver certificates were the $1 bills.
Which is why when everybody,
That was
which is
earlier.
why now when
But
everyone
either way,
talks
you're
about
backed by metal,
what you
right?
need to stock up on, it's all things everybody.
You know
would need.
what backs U.S. debt? I'm going to tell you right now. You know what backs U.S. debt?
What's that?
Fucking lead.
Exactly. Well, when they
You like that?
You read.
That's right. Think
So
hard about.
what
Think
is
hard about
precious
that one,
metal
folks.
combined? What is
We have
of
3
what
minutes.
is precious metal comprised? Are you saying lead?
Yes.
Well, but you turn around, right, and you read every prepper book in the world always says that there's 3 things you should always maintain: cartons of cigarettes, alcohol, and ammunition.
Yep.
Because if the dollar goes to shit,
I'm okay.
right? Right, if the dollar goes
Not
to
me.
shit.
I don't have any of those things, folks. Just so you know, I have
That's right.
none of them.
No,
so don't come out here. I have nothing.
Hey, listen, I have Kettle One, okay? What do you think that I was saying?
Hey, you know what? Email me, Sean at shrmedia.com. Tell me what you have for preparation and where we can find you should we ever need it. Because we'll compare notes. What I have, what you have, what I might
Listen,
have later.
I've gone through preparation plans A through G. I am now on preparation.
You're on
H.
H.
Yeah, you're
I
on
saw
preparation
that
H.
coming.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm
And
on
that one's a
preparation.
pain in the ass.
Yes,
I'll
it
tell
is.
you what.
Big
Huge
time.
pain in the ass.
So, what do we do about North Korea? Bottom line is we have to do something.
I think at some point, I've seen
we have to do something.
I've seen a lot of people talk this week that perhaps us forcing a change in the leadership may not be a bad idea. You know,
Here's what I think. I think North Korea is going to force us to do it. I don't think we're going to do the act first. I think whatever overt act occurs will be on the part of North Korea.
So now that they've backed off the nukes thing, and I know we only have 2 minutes, now they've backed way off nukes, he still has to show he's strong because that's why he's a communist leader. So he is going to do something locally.
He's going to attack another ship. He's going to
Sheldon Island. He's going to do something that still says, hey, I'm a badass.
and then that's going to be an opportunity.
But I spared them.
He will be the actor.
But that's
we will
gonna,
not be the actor.
Yes.
But that's
I
going to
agree.
be an opportunity.
I
And
agree.
we have to answer that. We can't just say, oh, little Kim's gone crazy again.
Right. But we now have a president who does.
Well, he talks like he will.
Well,
right?
Hey,
but if North Korea sinks another South Korean ship or something like that,
we have to see what his reaction is going to be.
Not
Something
too
has
many
to be
people
done.
saw what was going on in Syria. Not too many people understood what Trump was about until he decided to dump a couple of munitions.
No, a fucking Moab. How awesome was that?
That was Afghanistan.
And not the first one.
Yeah.
It's the upgraded little version, not the Blue 82.
Right. I was just shocked that people are still, he's got the rhetoric, and he's proven in Syria and Afghanistan he's not afraid to use force if he has to. It'll be interesting to see. Hey, folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show live from the SHR Media Network.
Great show,
Thank
Sean.
you so
Great
very
show,
much,
Clint.
gentlemen, for a great show. We will see you next Wednesday at
Really
8 p.m.
good
Pacific.
show.
Really big show.
Really big show.
Really big. We'll see you next Wednesday, 11 p.m.
Hey,
on the
tomorrow
East
night I
Coast.
got Melanie Collette. Come listen.
Same time, 8 p.m. PST, the Beloviating Zeppelin, special guest Melanie Collette. Make sure just before him you check out Jersey Joe, and just before him, Ralph. We'll see you next week.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Talk news. Talk news.
Radio.
Talk news. Talk news.
Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America. And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.